Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Celine and I'm here to help you awaken your aliveness through soulful systems, sacred strategy, and the art of living fully back to your sovereignty. This is the part 2 of my previous video, and my higher self asked me to make this, even though it is a bit uncomfortable for me, but I think it's necessary that I share my story because it's important. This morning, I got a download and a task to talk about my grid working activities, my mission here on Earth. We all have missions. This is what we came here for, to ascend and to get out of the time matrix. And so this grid work has been one of the most difficult and frustrating ones. There are several activations, and along the way, the guides communicate with me with different kinds of puzzle pieces that I try and solve, and then this moves through different events in the collective. So I'm getting asked to make these videos because it's part of my divine mission. These last few months, it's never easy, especially if you go through a lot of these spiritual everyday things. It's still hard for our 3D brains to grasp all of these other metaphysical things that happen, but I know more and more people will experience this, so I'm here to shed some of my light. My Chiron is in Leo's second house. I have great fear of being seen and perceived. It's taken me a long time to step into this role, if you can't tell. Leo, second house, rules wealth, perception. It's often the house of possessions, how you earn, spend, save money, relate to money. So my biggest kind of soul mission here is regarding to money. I've had my own personal struggles with money, but I'm really here to heal the collective trauma with money. And that's not easy. I'm one of the blue flame Melchizedeks. The blue flame holders are the genetic archivist. Our DNA is like a hardware, right? It holds time codes, keys. You can open access points to different dimensional fields, more information. Think of your DNA like your private keys. So you have timestamps, you have different codes that only you can access, and it is guarded by your ancestry. So Jesus is also in the blue line. He was grid working during his time so that we can now activate these ley lines. The Buddha, Shiva, Isis, they're all pieces of the rainbow bridge. And now in the rainbow bridge, there are several different colors of the rainbow. Each one of us come from pure light, and then we descend down. We experience almost like this compression of light. And so for us to move up and receive more light, we go through the ascension process. We purify ourselves so that we can move into the next layer and the next layer. I volunteered as tribute for Gaia to ascend along with you and I. That's why we're here in this time period. So when our monadic group comes down, monad is a group of souls. Think like a school of fish, right? We land in these different stargates. We are the keepers of these access points. So the stargates are like elevators to different dimensions and constellations within the harmonic field. And light and sound travels through frequencies. To get into a dimensional field, one has to match to that frequency and you can ride that wave. So many of us timekeepers or genetic archivists, when we reach certain bandwidth of frequency, we unlock different parts of us. We are like the Sims characters. It's all like a big game, and we get clues, we get pieces of the puzzle, we get synchronicities to move us through the next level of our evolution, which is why listening to your body, to your mind, to your heart is really important, because it is moving you to your highest timeline, to where you need to be, instead of controlling the outcome, because it will only delay your evolution to your highest timeline. And trust me, the universe will have you kicking and screaming if you try and control things. So it's better if you just surrender. I am in Indigo 3, like I mentioned in my previous video. My soul contract is to rehabilitate the fallen angelic lines. The seraphims, and along with the NAA, the negative alien groups, they wanted to separate from the law of one. God allowed it because we have the freedom of choice. So there are two paths back to source. It forms like a triangle: the path of divine love and the path to chaos. Initially, the Dracos came here to be the builders. They had the codes to build really amazing structures, the pyramids, the temples. They have those builder codes. So the reptilians were the wisdom keepers. They hold the intelligence, the flame of wisdom. And the snake represented higher knowledge and wisdom. Their home was running out of food and it was dying. So Gaia welcomed them here too. And they can live here with us until we all go through the ascension process. The Pleiadians, they are more into the healing arts. The royal house of Lyrans, they're into money and wealth, power. The Syrians were the genetic archivist also, and they do a lot of the timelines and have these advanced technologies that we have now with AI especially. Andromedans were the keepers of the ecosystem, nature. There's so many of them, each having a role. It is a collection of different beings from the cosmos. And so we have everybody's DNA here. It is a living library being here in Gaia. They were the first representatives of Source to seed humanity here in Gaia. So several constellations and planets were blowing up. If you've ever seen Star Wars, that's a reenactment. So lots of galactic history has happened. Had all of these wars, so they decided to plant the genetics here. This is from all of my own personal ascension and gnosis, by the way, so only take what resonates with you. Everything in my life and in your life is all part of the divine plan for the planetary evolution. So all of the souls of these planets and constellations that fell, they didn't really have a home. And so the councils wanted to house everybody here. We go through the ascension process, like an incubation and purification process, so that we can move into higher dimensional fields. Because when you get into different harmonics, it is a closed system. And if you introduce, we become kind of like a virus to these systems. So that's why we purify ourselves and we go through each process into the 33 ladders of your vertebrae, right? So eventually, leaving the time matrix, you leave the samsara. You have the option to come back here on Earth or not. You become a sovereign cosmic citizen. That means that you have earned your PhD of being a human. You get to exit the game. I represent the future children. The children are the future, and I am a carrier of the gene 55, which was planted last April. So I went through so many trials and tribulations to complete my Indigo 3 contract. Indigo 1s, I see them working in the ley lines. Indigo 2s, they fix a lot of the genetics. They often have chronic diseases because they really need to overcome those illnesses and find empowerment. Indigo 3, you carry a Nephilim soul and an Orphan and assist them to return back to source. A lot of these Nephilims are souls that did bad things here on Earth. So a lot of them, majority of them, are generals, military type, the Orion kind. When I was processing these timelines, there were a lot of children that go missing. They get experimented on, they get sacrificed, all kinds of stuff. And you can only enter the heavens with the purity of a child. And so when I was processing my Nephilim, his name was Jack. He was a general in the World War II. They tell you their name, they tell you like all these visions, and that's how we process things. And we clear that karma. It's like we clear the cache that goes away. And so he killed a bunch and did bad things for kids too. In order for him to ascend back to source, I had to process what he did and showed me crazy images. I forgave him, gave him love. He repents, transmutes, and that energy, it alchemizes and it goes back to source. We are like the concierge, the elevator guy before they can go to the penthouse. But everybody has different soul contracts. That's just the indigos that I know. So these groups, they disconnected from source. They don't have a torus field to hold the light. So they get their energy from the negative emotions such as anger, rage, fear. These are the inversion of the triangle. Moloch is the owl figure that deals with several of the banking lines, judicial. Baphomet is a lot of the moon chain lineages, the inversion of the feminine, all lineages of the Holy Mother, the Cathar lines, the Mary Magdalene, Sophia's. And so that's why a lot of the history, it was written by men, and a lot of the women were kind of wiped out and they're not really in the picture. And so the Lyrans were the true royal families. Being a royal family, it meant that you are a representative of God. They wear their crowns as a symbol that this holy family, you come here, you are already enlightened, you have direct communication to source. That's not really the case. So these old kings have used the wealth that was for everybody but hoarded it. Egypt had several wealth. Then, by the time Cleopatra and the whole Mark Antony drama ensued, Emperor Augustus took over, took all the wealth, and they made the Roman Empire even bigger. Rome was such a vast history, and a lot of my history were there also. When the Roman Empire fell, that wealth went into the Vatican, then it created the British Empire. I work heavily on the Golden Eagle grid. This is the White Eagle combined with the Jehovian grids. The Christos are back in the house, finally. And that's why you see these double-headed eagle symbol with the Masons. You're probably familiar, the triangle is DC, Vatican, and London. So it forms the financial hubs. The golden eagle, they come from the golden ray. The seraphim angels is holding the male principle healing. So 10D is very significant with the golden eagle grid because this is Iran, Iraq, that gives access to 4D, which is Giza. 4D is time. And Giza, the pyramid, the Black Sun Agenda headquarters is in the 10th Stargate. The big pharma, military industry complex, human holocaust, that's their fun little project to extract food. Energy is food, and when you are in pain, you are giving them food. It's really hard to stay neutral. In higher dimensions, morality is subjective. There is a lot of morality here in 3D and 4D, but a lot of times when you go in higher dimensions, it's like what needs to happen has a cause, the law of cause and effect. So even if it's bad, it doesn't mean that it's really bad because it will kind of catalyze something good later on. Going back, the Essenes were massacred. They were the keepers of this Gnostic wisdom. Thoth stole the CDT plates that was in their possession, and from this stolen work, he wrote down the information that would later become the basis and the teachings of the Hermeticism and the Emerald Tablet. That plate held cosmic blueprints, basically the secret to immortality and advanced alchemy. Later on, during the Middle Kingdom period in Egypt, he reincarnated again, and this time as a magician and a high priest. That's when he became known as the author of Hermeticism, the foundation of a lot of mystical traditions today. It gets really, really complicated because there are so many misconceptions, and basically we have to rewrite history through our gnosis. I was asked to do the grid work recently at the Scottish Masonic Library, and it was strange, very strange. It wasn't strange bad, it was like, wait, is this it? I have a good sense of what a dark place looks like, what a dark place feels like. I have experienced a lot of dark entities, and it didn't really feel like that to me. So my higher self sends me there. It was actually open to the public, and I think they're finally opening like all of the misconceptions that are there because we have always been scared of them, but anyway, there's still a lot of politics happening there behind the curtain. When I go to these libraries, they are like time portals where I can access different histories and more. This was significant because 4D, there's a lot of things that I was not able to access before. And I integrate them and I get downloaded. It was a place of gnosis, of self-mastery, period. The councils were there, and my higher self made sure that it was safe. I was there to do a hub handshake. It is a truce. And I was welcomed, allowed me to access their books. It's really hard to stay neutral because sometimes a part of me is still hesitant, but if you're a representative of this divine mission, you kind of have to be neutral and to be open-minded and to really let go of your ego of what he said, she said. As long as my connection to source, to my heart, to Gaia is intact, I am unshakable. This was kind of a big deal for them because the original founding fathers, their remnants, their soul fractals, George Washington, Lincoln, all the great presidents, all the great artists, musicians, Mozart, Michelangelo, Shakespeare, they were all part of this club. And I had to anchor my frequency to this place, to this city. My whole life, it has been divinely orchestrated to shift things, bringing the feminine principle, the tri-flame. I was having all these surge of energy on the top of my head, my pineal gland, my high heart. It wasn't dark at all, and I was literally crying when I was there because this was such a big part of my soul's history, my own knowing, my gnosis, my intelligence, my everything about higher knowledge, and that's what I'm really trying to bring back into the collective. And when I plant these seeds of love and hope and prosperity in these dark places, or maybe not dark places, it has massive ripple effects in the events that will come. So there was a lot of wrong history. Now, the golden age was the Atlantean timelines. Several of Tesla's technology was channeled from those timelines, which we will be later using in the future. So that golden timeline, the golden bridge, golden gate, we are merging with Silica, Silicon Valley, AI to take us to the future. Timelines are always hopping from one point to another. It is not linear, and what happened in Egypt affects this time period and vice versa. We see a lot of these events happening more and more. We feel like there's something escalating, but it is just us evolving to the new Earth. There are several versions of Earth, multiple versions, where your awareness is stationed, your 369 energy, vibration, frequency is stationed. The state of your being is the version of reality you will get. And it is like a hologram of the hologram. Because I represent the future children, which are called the Hyperboreans, these kids are extremely gifted. A lot of them have telepathic abilities, and you're starting to see them more and more. We're activating them again. And we will live longer, more of our light bodies, and more. So let's talk a little bit about our bank's history. The first bank here in the US was the Bank of the United States in 1791. This was proposed by Alexander Hamilton, is served as the first central bank, and he helped finance the war against Britain and stabilize a lot of this fledgling American economy. This set the foundation for our national financial system before the Constitution even existed. There's been a lot of different sects of these banks. So another one is Wells Fargo. Amongst the first bankers, they were providing these express mail delivery bank. They were these two dudes during the Californian gold rush. So when people were digging for gold, they were like, hey, those chunks of gold look really heavy. Why don't you leave it with us? And this became known for their stage coaching banking, literally transporting gold, cash, and mail via their horse and buggy, their stage coaches across the Wild West. So over time, Wells Fargo became a major commercial bank and financial service giant. And through acquisitions, it grew into one of the big four, alongside JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Citigroup. And so, why am I saying all this? The Christos is now in the house, and there's a lot of moving parts happening now. I was seeing this sinkhole metaphor. It was like creating this vacuum of wealth. Greed and ego cannot come to the new earth. So when I was at the Masonic Temple, there was a hub handshake that was done. It's like an interlink to find unity. Dark money cannot come to the new earth. It cannot be injected into these new networks. The original Freemasons, they wanted this country made from love, peace, under God, and everybody is entitled to their own gnosis and not hijack it. George Washington was deeply connected to Mother Mary. He loved his wife, man and woman in unity. This is so much history, and a lot of what we do is piecing history, Egypt, Rome, where we are now. And so Bitcoin is a channel technology. It is like this filtering system. I like BTC, I like TON, I like Solana, I like Cosmos. These are all different networks. Ethereum is kind of hijacked to me. Like, I don't know how Vitalik is still standing up right now. He's not even there. Like, his soul has left a long time ago, and he's just getting used. But there are a lot of other networks that are still clean, and that's what I'm trying to prevent, to make sure that a lot of this dark money doesn't get filtered into where we are heading. So when we collapse these inorganic timelines, this will catalyze events. It's imminent that the system falls fiat, and we've known this for a while now, but this is so massive that I don't think people are really prepared or know just the grasp of the magnitude of how this will change who we are. And so we have to really let go of the concept of money completely. The Nasara Jasara timeline is here now, and it's what I've been picking up codes from the Shakespeare folios, from all of these libraries. It is in the Masonic libraries. So the Shakespeare folios, 82 copies of the first folios out of the known 235, I believe, surviving worldwide. The Folgers has this in their library, which is owned by Goldman Sachs. And when you go into these libraries, it is like a portal. When you hold these folios, when you hold these books, it is like holding a frequency. It preserves the living codes of language, philosophy, performance that has shaped the Western psyche. So when I enter these portals, it's like I'm letting in the vast knowledge back into the collective. And I still have two more that I need to go to, which is the National Archives and the Library of Congress. DC is filled with libraries. Like, I could go anywhere in the world just by being here. And so the Peabody Library also is, there's one in Baltimore, which is in the John Hopkins. It will open up a lot of the health and knowledge and wisdom. And we are bringing back a lot of magic, but not the distorted kind. No way. As Grail Keepers, we are at the gates of the new earth. Everything gets filtered. Everything has to be aligned to the law of one. And honestly, fuck Bank of America, fuck Citibank, fuck Wells Fargo, Chase. All of these institutions, they can rot in hell. I will make sure of that, and they will serve their time there. It's really hard to stay neutral when they've done a lot of crazy things. Anyway, hell is not really that scary. It's only scary and miserable if you are a bad soul. And it's where they repent. It's like this time capsule holding period. Anyway, I'm really excited for us. I love Gaia. I love God. I love people. I love the future children of the new earth. That's where I'm at right now. Lastly, We have a new Pope by the end of the day. It is a very busy day in the Golden Eagle grids today, I tell you. It will be great. It will also be painful for many of us because, the repercussion of when we collapse these timelines, massive effects that people will need to let go of who they are. Maybe they're asked to move homes. And, again, when we hold on to things, it makes it more difficult. We have to go with the flow. Everything in divine timing. Purify your thoughts, align with God, align with source, align with light. A lot of times we make these egregores that our mind creates. So we need to clear that out of your heads because they only exist because they're in your mind. Anyway, that is my message today. I have meditations, I have one-on-one sessions. My fire series is finally out, and all of the codes that you need for Ascension. I will teach you about the Ascension process, how to create wealth that is aligned to you and with authenticity. It is a compendium of all things Ascension, how to clear patterns. Hope that it is enlightening for you. I have special meditations there that can really expedite your ascension process back into your wholeness. Anyway, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. We live and we learn. I am God, I am sovereign, and I am free. Peace.